The rain had been falling for 3 days without pause when Eleanor Whitmore arrived at the gates of Blackvale Manor. The coachman refused to go any farther. He stopped the horses before the rusted iron gate, muttering prayers under his breath. Eleanor stepped down, her black traveling cloak heavy with water. The air smelled of wet earth and rotting leaves. Beyond the gates rose the silhouette of the manor, vast, silent, and shrouded in mist. Its many chimneys pierced the gray sky like the fingers of a buried corpse trying to claw free. She had come alone. A month earlier, a letter sealed in crimson wax had arrived at her London apartment. It claimed that she was the last surviving heir to the Whitmore estate, a name she barely remembered from childhood. The solicitor's words had been clear: "Your presence is required at Blackvale to settle the inheritance." Her husband had been dead a year. London's rooms felt suffocating, haunted by memories and whispers of death. The letter had felt like an invitation from fate itself. Now, standing before the manor, she wondered whether fate could be cruel enough to disguise a curse as a blessing. The main doors groaned as she pushed them open. The echo traveled through vast, unseen corridors. A smell of mildew and old smoke filled her lungs. Candles flickered to life on the walls as if the house had been waiting. She crossed the grand foyer, her footsteps stirring up a century of dust. Portraits lined the walls, stern men and pale women, each bearing the same narrow eyes and sharp cheekbones that she had glimpsed in her own reflection. Their painted gazes followed her, their faces cracked like dry parchment. A tall man in a black suit appeared from the shadows. "You must be Miss Whitmore," he said in a voice that carried the dust of ages. "I am," she replied. "And you are?" "Harland, madam, caretaker of the estate." He bowed, though the gesture seemed mechanical. His skin was gray with fatigue, his eyes oddly dull. When she asked if anyone else lived here, he hesitated before replying. "Only those who never truly left, miss." She thought he meant servants, but there were none. The halls were empty. The air itself seemed to breathe around her. That first night, Eleanor lit a fire in the drawing room. Harland had vanished without sound after showing her to her chambers. The house creaked as if shifting in its sleep. Wind whistled through the chimney. Somewhere above, faint piano notes drifted through the air, a delicate melody she recognized but could not place. She followed the sound up the grand staircase, candle in hand. The flame bent under unseen drafts. The song led her to a locked door at the end of a long corridor. When she pressed her ear against the wood, the piano fell silent. A whisper brushed her ear, not from inside the room, but from behind her. "Go back." Eleanor turned sharply. The hallway was empty. Only the portraits watched her, their eyes glinting like wet stones in the candlelight. Morning brought little comfort. Fog blanketed the garden so thickly that the world seemed reduced to the house and nothing else. Harland served breakfast in silence. His hands trembled as he poured the tea. "Did you hear the music last night?" she asked. He froze, the teapot hovering above her cup. "There has been no piano in this house for many years, Miss Whitmore." "Not since the fire." "What fire?" she asked. He didn't answer. The teapot clattered as he set it down, spilling dark liquid across the tablecloth. When she looked up, he was gone. That afternoon she explored the east wing, long abandoned. The room smelled of smoke and damp stone. Charred wallpaper peeled from the walls. In one chamber, she found a piano, its keys warped, blackened, yet faintly gleaming as though someone had touched them recently. On the wall above hung a portrait of a woman so like herself that Eleanor's breath caught. The plaque beneath read, "Lydia Whitmore, 1847 to 1873. Her mind spun. The resemblance was uncanny, the same copper hair, the same haunted eyes. She reached out and brushed the frame. The air grew cold. The piano let out a single note, struck by unseen fingers. Eleanor stumbled back. The candle slipped from her hand, sputtering on the floor. The sound of footsteps followed her out of the room, soft, deliberate, in perfect rhythm with her own. That night, she dreamed of the portrait. Lydia Whitmore stood inside the frame, pressing her palm against the glass. Smoke coiled around her. "Free me," Lydia whispered. "Before he wakes." Eleanor jolted upright. Her candle had burned down to a stub. The clock struck 3. Outside her room, footsteps moved again, not Harland's slow shuffle, but the crisp tread of boots on marble. She opened her door. The corridor stretched into blackness. At the far end, a man stood tall, thin, his face hidden in shadow. He raised a gloved hand and pointed toward the staircase. When she blinked, he was gone. The next morning, she found Harland sitting at the dining table, staring at nothing. "Who is Lydia Whitmore?" she asked. He flinched. "Best left unspoken." "Tell me," she insisted. His voice shook. "Lydia was mistress of the manor long ago. She married Lord Whitmore, a man obsessed with the occult. They say he sought immortality through sacrifice. When Lydia tried to flee, he locked her in the east wing and set the fire to seal his ritual. The flames consumed them both, or so they say." He looked up, eyes full of dread. "No body was ever found." Eleanor felt the air thicken, her heart pounding. "And the music? Her song," he whispered. "It plays when she is near."
Days passed. The rain never stopped. Eleanor began to lose sense of time. The mirrors fogged even when the fire was out. Sometimes she caught glimpses of movement, a woman's silhouette gliding past a doorway, a reflection in a mirror that did not match her own expression. One evening, she found a journal in a locked drawer, bound in cracked leather. It belonged to Lord Edward Whitmore. The entries grew darker with each page. The ritual nears completion. She resists. The vessel must be willing. If I cannot bind her soul, perhaps her bloodline shall suffice. The final page was written in red ink. The curse shall pass until the blood returns. Only through union will the circle close. Her hands trembled. She realized with a chill what it meant. She was Lydia's bloodline. Her return had awakened whatever evil had been sleeping beneath this roof. That night, the house came alive. Doors slammed. Candles extinguished themselves. The piano played by invisible hands, the melody fast and discordant. Eleanor fled down the hall, skirts tangling around her feet. She heard Harland calling her name, his voice breaking. She found him in the foyer, clutching his chest. "I tried to warn you," he gasped. "He feeds on the living blood." The family's return was the key. Before she could reach him, his eyes rolled back and he collapsed. His skin turned ashen. In seconds, he was gone, nothing left but dust on the marble floor. Eleanor screamed. The echo rose through the house like laughter. She ran toward the grand staircase, but the steps stretched endlessly, spiraling downward instead of up. The air smelled of smoke. When she reached the bottom, she found herself in a stone cellar, walls slick with age, lit by a dozen candles burning without flame. In the center stood an altar of black marble, and on it, a mirror. Her reflection was not her own. Lydia stared back, eyes glowing with sorrow. Behind Lydia stood a man, tall, thin, wearing a charged suit. His face was half burned, half beautiful. Lord Edward Whitmore. He smiled. "Welcome home, my love." Eleanor backed away, but her feet would not move. The reflection reached toward her, the mirror's surface rippling like water. "You carry her soul," Edward whispered. "Now give it back." The mirror exploded outward. Shards cut her skin. Wind held through the cellar, carrying the scent of ash and roses. Lydia's voice filled her head. "Free me, or become me."
Eleanor stumbled toward the stairs, bleeding. Every wall now bore Lydia's face. The portraits had changed, their painted eyes wept blood. The piano thundered above, each note a scream. She burst into the grand hall. Flames crawled along the curtains though nothing burned. Edward appeared at the top of the stairs, untouched by fire. "You cannot escape what you are," he said. "The blood remembers." Eleanor raised the candle holder in defiance. "Then let it end with me." She struck the marble floor. The candle shattered. Fire erupted, wild and red. The ceiling groaned as beams collapsed. Edward's laughter turned to a roar. The last thing she saw was Lydia's ghost reaching out not to harm, but to pull her into the flame. When dawn came, Blackvale Manor stood in ruins once more. Villagers who dared approach found no trace of Eleanor Whitmore, only a cracked mirror half buried in ash. Those who looked into it swore they saw a woman standing behind their reflection, whispering softly through the smoke, "The blood remembers." Years later, when the rain falls without pause, travelers passing the forest claim they see lights flickering within the ruins of the old house. Sometimes, they say, piano notes drift through the mist, in a voice, gentle and mournful, singing a tune no one alive remembers.